Superman and Me, Part 1. I learned to read with a Superman comic book. Simple enough, I suppose. I can remember picking up my father's books before I could read. I also picked up that Superman comic book. In one panel, Superman breaks through a door. His suit is red, blue, and yellow. I look at the narrative above the picture. I cannot read the words, but I guess it tells me that Superman is breaking the door. Aloud, I pretend to read the words and say Superman is breaking the door. Part 2. But I was an Indian boy living on a reservation. A smart Indian is a dangerous person, widely feared and ridiculed by Indians and non-Indians alike. My classmates wanted me to stay quiet when a non-Indian teacher asked for answers, for volunteers, for help. We were Indian children who were expected to be stupid. Most of them were monosyllabic in front of a non-Indian teacher, but could tell complicated stories and jokes at the dinner table. Part 3. I refused to fail. I was smart. I was arrogant. I was lucky. I read books late into the night until I could hardly keep my eyes open. I read books at recess, then during lunch, and in a few minutes left after I had finished my classroom assignments. I read books in the car when my family traveled to powwows or basketball games. In shopping malls, I ran to the bookstores and read bits and pieces of as many books as I could. I read the books my father brought home from second-hand bookshops. I read the books I borrowed from the library. I read the backs of cereal boxes. I read the newspaper. I read the bulletins posted on the walls of the school, the clinic, the tribal offices, the post office. I read junk mail. I read auto repair manuals. I read magazines. I read anything that had words and paragraphs. I read with joy and desperation. I was trying to save my life. Part 4. These days, I write novels, short stories, and poems. I visit schools and teach creative writing to Indian kids. I was never taught how to write novels, short stories, and poems. I visit the schools as often as possible. The Indian kids crowd the classroom. Many are writing their own poems, short stories, and novels. They have read my books. They have read many other books. They look at me with bright eyes and arrogant wonder. They are trying to save their lives. Then, there are the sullen and already defeated Indian kids who sit in the back rows and ignore me with theatrical precision. The pages of their notebooks are empty. They carry neither pencil nor pen. They stare out of the window. They refuse and resist. Books, I say to them. Books, I say. I throw my weight against their locked doors. The door holds. I am smart. I am arrogant. I am lucky. I am trying to save our lives. The Joy of Reading and Writing, written by Sherman Alexie and read by MrMalal-English.